Okay, we're ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this.
What are you trying to say? Why are we standing? I don't move on. It's very real. Was I supposed to spend the rest of my life feeling miserable on the way?
Why are you with Charlotte? God, why are you with me? I don't know why I'm still with you. When I used to know, but I don't.
Basic Teen TV.
Hey guys, welcome to Basic Teen TV. We're a weekly podcast talking about 90s teen TV dramas, and we are talking about Dawson's Creek, Season 5, Episode 15. My name is Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
Welcome, guys. How
Thanks.
you doing?
Fine. How about you? How are you?
I feel gassy.
I'm doing.
I'm gassy.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little bloated. Yeah.
Me too.
So we're all in the same place right now. Okay. Episode 15 called Downtown Crossing. So I think y'all had mentioned in the last episode that y'all were a little confused about the to be continued at the end of episode 14. And I think it's made it clear when this episode opens, she's still walking home
Yes.
from the last episode.
So it's that we're continuing her walk home alone.
Right, alone on the streets of Boston, where it's like really desolate.
Right.
Yeah, for being a big city, and I don't know what time it is, but
That looked like a downtown area, like right downtown.
I mean, it's called Downtown Crossing.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
Then there's nobody out.
Not a soul.
Nobody.
no, not a single person. It's just Joey and the snow.
And so she's walking around. She's got her fucking head in the clouds.
Yeah.
She is not being a smart woman walking home alone at night by like paying attention to her surroundings and like whatever. And she walks past an ATM and then she doubles back. And she's like, I'm going to go in here and get some cash. And she doesn't check her surroundings before she goes into the vestibule. She doesn't look around when she's taking her money out. She pulls out her phone and calls Professor Wilder and is like, hey, can I still come over? Okay, I'll be over soon. And she's just not paying attention to anything. Meanwhile, there's some fucking creepo skulking around.
I already started laughing at this point in the episode because we know what's coming. He's peeking in, like looking at her in the ATM vestibule thing. He tries to get in. So there's a shot of like his hand on the door trying to get in, but it auto locks. And the thing that caught my eye was that he was wearing a pinky ring. And I was just thinking about the styling of this like bad guy. And I was like, oh, they were thinking, the writers, they were like, it makes sense that like a bad guy or a robber, they wear pinky rings, right? Like for sure.
like a Guido or a mobster. with
Yeah, I think
pinky
that's
ring.
what they were going for. Because you see his hand on the bar and he's got this massive pinky ring on. And I was like, okay.
I didn't notice the pinky ring.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either.
So she leaves the ATM vestibule and starts walking, I guess, back towards Professor Wilder's house, still not paying attention to anything. And the guy who was trying to get in to the ATM vestibule has crossed the street, and he's just kind of like walking alongside her on the opposite side
Smoking
of the
a
street.
cigarette, like
smoking a
bad
cigarette.
guy wearing his pinky ring and his baseball jacket.
And she still
smoking
doesn't look
cigarettes.
across the street to see that there's somebody following her,
Right.
or
yeah.
to even pay attention that there's like another person.
She doesn't hear the footsteps
She-
crunching in the snow.
No, she's in love, and you don't pay attention to things when you're in love.
Okay, so you squish teddy bears, you arrange daisies, you throw snowball baseballs, and what else?
And you just don't pay attention.
And
Yeah,
you just don't
you,
pay
like, talk to
attention
yourself on
to
the
your
streets.
surroundings
Yeah, and
late
you
at night.
take money out of an ATM machine while
late
you're
at night while
Yeah.
you're walking alone in the downtown area, which has no other humans around. So he approaches her, like startles her, and
It looks like a totally normal human being.
he's a little
I mean, he's got facial
crusty.
hair.
He's a little crusty looking. And he starts by asking her to borrow some money, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, can I borrow some money? And she's like, I don't have any money. I don't have any cash on me. Sorry. And like tries to like walk around him. And he's like, I mean, how does he keep the conversation going? I can't even remember.
He just keeps like stepping in front of her, and he's like, where are you going? What are you doing? She's like, none of your business. And
right.
And
yeah.
then he's just like saying things like, oh, you're pretty, or like whatever. And
He calls her sweetheart a lot.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, I'm not hitting on you. I just have to ask you. I have to ask you a question.
And it just keeps on going like this for like 20 minutes. Then he references his gun. And he like
Oh yeah, he
raises up his shirt and shows her that he has a gun. And then she starts to get more of an attitude, which is actually the opposite of what you should do when things...
Right.
When like someone shows you a gun, that's when you sort of back down. And she's basically like, what are you going to fucking shoot me?
He's like, yeah, he might. You don't know this person.
You have no idea.
Like, what? And the whole time I was like, just give him the 20. I watched you take 20 whole dollars out of your ATM. Just give him the 20.
Yeah,
and
like, can we be done with this scene
just give
now?
him the 20 and move on. But no, she like antagonizes him and like doesn't want to give it to him. And then he's like, I saw it. You took the money out.
And she's like, no, I didn't. And he's like, no, but I saw.
But at some point, I have to point out, at some point after we establish that she's being mugged, they cut to do the intro. And it's not the usual song. It's like a dark version of the song with like some cloudy
some,
skies.
like, graphic clouds, like not even real clouds, just like motion graphics of clouds across a dark, stormy looking sky.
So I guess that this is meant to indicate that this is going to be like a very special, serious.
Like a heavy hitter. This is supposed to be the one that blows us out of the water.
Yeah, like Dawson's Creek is like doing the hard hitting topics of her getting
They're not
mugged.
afraid to go there.
Right. It's serious.
This is real serious.
And then what proceeds to happen is the most batshit crazy thing I've ever seen in my entire life. First off, I want to point something out. It is obvious that no writer on this show has ever been robbed at gunpoint, because it don't go down like this. You're not standing around having a fucking 20-minute conversation with someone.
No.
If someone's robbing you with a gun, they're trying to get in
And out.
and get out. This guy's like having life discussions with her.
Yeah, he was like trying to hang out. He was given way too much opportunity for like someone else to walk by.
Yes.
And for her to be like, I need help.
Yeah.
Or anyone to drive by. They were like on the sidewalk for 20 minutes.
Yeah, where are the
Talking.
Where are the police? I'm
He,
sorry.
like,
in New
yanks
York,
her-
they're everywhere. So I don't
Yeah.
understand what's happening
Or
here.
just anyone driving by. They're downtown.
He like yanks her into some sort of like just like a storefront, you know, that's kind of like the doors are kind of inset from the sidewalk, so there's like space for them to kind of be in a more secluded area of the sidewalk. And that's when I think he tells her, like, I saw you at the ATM, I saw you take money out, so I know you have money, give me your money. And she gives him the 20 and she's like, okay, can I go now? And he's like, no, you got a phone? You got a cell phone? And she's like, gives him the cell phone, ends up giving him everything that she has, including her wallet. And he just like goes through and he's like, well, I'm not going to take this credit card because I know you'll cancel that.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on forever.
And he finds her bank card and then drags her back to the ATM. And she's like, all I have is like, I only have $27 in my bank account.
Well, before he drags her back to the ATM, she like knees
she,
him in
like-
the crotch.
Yeah, I thought she like fucking like,
Kneed him in the ribs or something.
I thought her leg went full up into his chest or something.
And he falls down, and then she runs away and grabs her phone back and then drops the phone. Then he gets up. It was just drawn out in the most ridiculous way. Then he grabs her again. Then he like takes her back to, they have
Okay.
more conversation.
Yeah. So he's like, you got anything in your savings? And her eyes get really wide. And she's like, no, not my savings. She has a whole $500 in there, $507.
Hey,
he, like-
I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there too. And she, like, he's like knocking her because she ends up telling him where she goes to school. I'm like, why are you giving this man information about yourself?
Right. Why are we still standing here having this conversation? Then it turns into like a meet cute. I was like, are these two going to start dating? Because then they're like flirting.
Well, he's asking her relationship question, like relationship advice. You know, like what did we, you know, if your boyfriend was mad at you, you know, for, you know, something stupid because girls are stupid, like what would you do to like get back in her good graces? And she's like, have you thought about getting her a gift? And he's like, yeah, that's kind of why I asked you for the money or something like that. I don't know if he says that.
He says something like, oh, that's a really nice coat. Like, where'd you get it? And she does that little like one lip up, like one side of her mouth up sneer. And she was like, I don't know. It was like a gift, I guess. Like, why? And he's like, because I fucking want it. I'm robbing you.
I know it's been a half an hour. I'm still robbing you right now.
Yeah. And then she's like, are you crazy? It's cold outside. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm robbing you.
And then he shows her the gun again. He's like, remember, I still have this thing, this gun. And the way they were like talking with each other, it was like flirty. Like how Joey and Pacey used to talk to each other, like ball busting. They were like ball busting.
Yeah, busting each other's chops.
It was like the start of every Hallmark movie where like a woman meets a man and he's like such a dick and she's like, fuck this guy. But she kind of secretly likes him and they're ball busting and then they end up married.
Right. Yeah. Except
Like
that
they fall in love.
Except that he had a gun. But
Except
yeah.
this Hallmark movie starts with a guy with a gun.
And a pinky ring.
Also, they're inside the bank at this point. There aren't like security cameras.
Right.
I know this is like 2001 or something. But
The bank would have one.
yeah.
Of all places.
Yeah. So he's not wearing a mask or anything.
Nothing.
No, he's just like out there.
Yeah.
Like-
so he takes her coat, still has her wallet and her phone. And what who goes first?
He leaves.
He leaves first.
He's like, nice knowing you, and walks out. And then she just stands there and she's like, hump. And I'm like, you're not going to cry? I would cry. Sorry, I would cry.
I would cry.
If I
I
got
would
mugged.
cry, and I also wouldn't be in that situation. Like none of it would have went down like that. And I do not find it probable that a character like Joey's character would have done any of that stuff in that situation. She wouldn't have kicked a robber in the balls or whatever she did.
Yeah, I mean, she seems like a reasonably sensible person otherwise, but this was nonsense. The whole way that she handled this was nonsense. She should have just like given him the money. Like, don't be a hero. Just give him the money and get it over with.
I didn't give my robber money.
Yeah, but you.
But the gun wasn't pointed at my head. It was
yeah,
pointed at Blake.
you let Blake take the fall.
Yeah. I
And
was
then
like, you want that government money anyway. I don't have it. I'm not the one. But I didn't have this long. Could you imagine if we like me and Blake and this robber stood on the corner for like 20 minutes and had a meet cute?
They, like hung out. Like
Yeah.
the guy was just like bored. He like wanted somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
He was, like robbing her of her fucking time, energy.
Yeah.
So he leaves and she just stands there and is like, ugh, so annoying. Like basically is her attitude, and then like just walks out. And I know she doesn't have a phone, but like there isn't a panic button or something in there. Like get the police. Instead, she's just like, I guess I have to walk home without anything now, and it's cold out. And I'm like, I would also be scared that fucking dude's still out
Yeah,
there.
that it's not over.
Yeah, like he could still be waiting. So
Yeah,
you're
and
just,
she's just like trudging home.
yeah, she's like,
bundled
I
up
guess
and-
I will continue to walk home alone in the dark. And
And they're playing this song that they played. They played it twice in this episode. I've never heard this song before. But as soon as he leaves, when she goes outside and she's walking home without her coat, it's like, alone, I'm all alone, or something like that. It's some woman singing, and they played it twice in this episode.
Oh, I didn't.
The same song.
I didn't take note of the song.
And she's just walking home alone.
so then she's walking and she turns around and the guy's standing in the middle of the street and he like whistles at her and she's like rolls her eyes. I'm like, run.
Yeah.
Run from this guy. He's And meanwhile, he's standing there and he's like, "Hey, sweetheart," and like waves at her, and then immediately gets like fucking plowed down by a car.
It
like
was-
flips over the car.
I've never laughed so hard
Oh my god!
in an episode of Dawson's Creek like I did with this. I just didn't see this coming. Like, what is going on?
Actually, as soon as I saw him standing in the middle of the road, I was like, so had a feeling that something was going to happen. Like, it didn't surprise me that he got hit by a car. The way that they filmed it, or the way that the stunt person like got hit by this car, was really like over the top.
And his shoes flew off,
to say the least. And Joey just like looks, like watches the whole thing happen, watches him like hit the ground.
then the driver drives off.
Yeah, the driver
It's a hit
takes
and
off.
run.
The one car that comes by during this whole thing, and then
Yeah.
it's a hit and run. So the driver like turns around, peels out. So now it's just the two of them alone again in downtown crossing, Boston, and she just like stands there
She stares at him for quite a while.
for like a long time.
I guess she's checking to see if he's breathing. Like, did he just get killed right in front of me? Like, I think she was just waiting to make sure that he wasn't moving.
And then she casually walks over and grabs her coat, and it's got her money and wallet are in the pocket of her coat, even though she had handed that off to him. And then he took the coat, so I guess he put her items back in her coat. It didn't make any sense. And then found the phone, and then he wakes up that minute and is like,
Yeah, like as
Blood's coming out of his mouth.
as she's rifling through his pockets, he like grabs her and startles her. Like, oh damn it, he's still alive. And she's like, I'm gonna call the police or something like that. She starts to walk away. She's like, you need help. I'm gonna call an ambulance. He's like, and then you're gonna call the police? She's like, yeah, like that's how it works. And he's like, points the gun at her, and she's like, okay, you're not gonna shoot me. I'm calling for help. You're not gonna shoot me. And he's
I
like,
wanted him to.
and he's like, try
So
me.
bad.
Well, he was like, try me. He's like, pointed the gun at her the whole time.
I was done listening to her talk.
Fucking gun wasn't loaded. And
yeah, he like fires it.
I don't
and-
know gun stuff. He clicked the thing, and it was like
he pulled the trigger.
He pulled the
Yeah.
trigger. You don't know
He
gun
clicked
stuff.
the thing.
Clicky clicky.
boom boom.
Pow pow pow.
I don't know gun stuff.
He pulled the trigger and it didn't fire, and then she like is really mad.
She's
Because-
like extra annoyed now at this part. She's like, you didn't have bullets? He's like, well, I got the gun. I just haven't gotten around to getting the bullets, the ammo. She's like, this is the most idiotic robber ever. I'm like, this is the most idiotic situation ever.
This is the most idiotic show ever.
So she calls 911 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she goes and like sits down with him, and I'm like, get away from him.
Yeah, just you can leave. You can like leave the scene right now. You did your part. You called 911. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
The police will like come find you or whatever, because whatever.
They have a heart to heart though.
They do have a heart to heart.
While he's on the ground and he's like bleeding from his mouth and he's like digging for his
He's like
cigarettes.
comedically trying to like put his cigarette in his mouth. Like, I guess his arm and his ribs are broken or something, so he can't use one of his arms. So he's like, lipping at fucking cigarettes as they're falling out of the box or whatever. And he's like trying to light it, and he can't do that either. And so she comes back over and like lights his cigarette for him, and then proceeds to like sit down with him and have a conversation. Just continued on this blossoming relationship.
The meet cute.
The meet cute. Yeah.
God.
I remember like several times I wrote in my notes here, I wrote it down like 3 separate occasions. Like, is this going to be the whole episode? Is this a dream? I really thought that this was like a dream episode, like that at the very end of this episode, Joey's going to wake up from a horrible, like crazy ass dream. But no, this
is supposed to be real.
This was supposed to be real. Yeah. What do they talk about?
They talk about like
while he's lying bleeding on the road.
I think they talk more about his wife and like
and his addiction, because he sells stuff, but he also
partakes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And his wife and kid.
He has a daughter. Yeah.
And then she talks about how her dad sold drugs
Yeah, well, this is all just like having Joey bring up her own life. Like this dude is her dad
Yeah.
because he has the same life situation that Joey had growing up, like drugged out junkie father who also sells and
Didn't he only sell weed?
he
or coke,
he
too?
graduated up to cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big whoop.
Who cares? God.
Yeah.
And a mom, although we don't know Robert's wife situation, but obviously we all know Joey's mom like died of cancer and stuff. So it's basically just like Joey like reflecting on her own life. Basically this episode. So the ambulance comes and like starts tending to. Does this guy have a name? Do we learn his name? I don't remember writing anything down. He's just the,
I don't
he's just the
know.
robber.
He knows her name though.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
because he
says
has
his
her.
name.
He's got her wallet.
Well, he asked her name.
He
at some
asked her
point.
name.
She
Oh,
was
he
like,
did
none
ask
of
her
your
name.
business.
Because
I
he's
would've
like, I
given
like
him a-
boys' names for girls' names.
Oh, right. That's the other thing too. Yeah.
But I don't
like-
know if he said his or if she asked for his.
I mean, you think she would have. I mean, they've gotten along this far.
Yeah, but the formula for meet cute is that Hallmark meet cute is that you're annoyed. The woman is annoyed with the guy because he's like an annoying jackass. So he was annoying her the whole time. So she never thought to ask for his name.
Right.
You know, she's just trying to get out of there. But
So
before she
clearly-
gets out of here,
clearly
she's
not
like, I'm
trying
going
to
to
get
give
out
you
of there.
advice on what to get your wife
Yeah.
who's pissed off at you. But when the ambulance came and the cops came, at first I was like, no one's going to ask Joey like what happened here. Like they just jump out and they start tending to him. But then this cop comes up to her and he's like holding her in a very weird way. And he's like, how you doing? Is everything okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. And then she dramatically passes out.
Yeah, she
In-
like faints. She gets the
That's like-
vapors and passes out. But she told the police when she called. She was like, this guy mugged me and then he got hit by a car. So like they knew already the sitch when they rolled up.
And if it were an accurate 911 call, the responders would be like, 911. And Joey would be like, oh my God, I just got mugged. And then my mugger got hit by a car. I need an ambulance out here like as soon as possible. And they'd be like, where are you?
Yeah, we can't help you unless you tell us where you are.
She'd be like, I'm at the corner of 1st Avenue and 7th Street. And they'd be like, what? I can't hear you. You need to speak up.
You need to calm down. Every 911 call, the 911,
Why are they such assholes?
they have like no empathy. And I'm like, so people are like having a crisis and you're like, you need to speak more clearly. And they're like, I'm sorry, my throat was just lashed.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to convey information at the moment. And I'm not fucking calling my insurance company right now. Like, why? What?
Oh, poor 911 callers. Some of them are good.
Some are good. Every
I want to
podcast
give.
that I listen to where they play the 911 dispatch call, I'm like, God damn, these people that like you
I
need
feel
to be
like-
an asshole to get the job.
I feel like when I watch Dateline or 48 Hours, like 911 callers are usually empathetic.
I feel like 80% are the biggest assholes that I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
20% are
They're they're
a
considered.
calm,
They're considered.
rational person.
Are they considered first responders? I don't want to knock first responders.
I don't want to either, but I've heard some calls and I'm appalled. And some of them get fired, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a podcast I listen to called 911 Calls, and they just like play the calls and they talk about it. They tell the whole story of like the crime, and then the call is in the middle to support the narrative. But yeah, then the hosts will not only talk about the crime that happened, but they'll like be like that. They'll like rip on the 911 caller and like or the
911
operator.
operator.
Yeah, and like their fucking attitude and the question. And they're like, I bet this guy fucking has like a pouch on his belt with his cell phone in it, and he's like on a real power trip, and like I don't know, whatever the attitude is from the operator.
Yeah, but some get fired because they're not taking the caller seriously and the person fucking dies.
Yeah, there's been a few. There was one where the caller got irritated with the operator because the operator kept saying, like, is he breathing? Is he breathing? And she'd be like, I don't know. You know, he was shot in the fucking neck. I can't tell if he's breathing or not. And he'd be like, okay, but is he breathing? and then the caller was like, I fucking told you already. I can't tell. And then he was like, you know what? I don't have to put up with this. You figure it out yourself, and hung up. And that's a real thing. Look it up. And then the person died, and then the guy got fired and like sued or whatever. There was another one with like a little boy, and he lived in like some project somewhere, Chicago or something. And he called in because his mother was having a heart attack, and the 911 operator like didn't believe him. Like, and even if somebody calls in and you don't know what they're saying or what's happening, you still send police out to like figure it out.
Yeah.
But she was like, thought that he was like playing on the phone, and was like, put your mom on the phone. And he's like, well, she can't talk. Like, she's sick. She can't talk. And this is like a little child. And then she was like, you know, if you don't, you know, put some adult on the phone, or you quit playing on the phone, we're going to send the police out there, and you're going to be in trouble. And so then he hangs out, and then he calls back like hours later and is like, you know, I need help here.
This
like,
is so sad.
and then finally they didn't believe him. And then finally cops got there, and like the mom was like dead. And
they're like, oh.
yeah. And so like,
Oh my gosh.
and then the operator tried to claim that she couldn't hear him or understand him. And of course they played the whole call in court, and they're like, what?
Why?
Like, even if you couldn't hear or understand him, send somebody out. Like, that's protocol. You're unclear what's happening. Somebody has called 911. You send the police out.
And can't the location just be tracked now? So if you can't understand if the address that someone's giving you, because either they have a knife in their neck or they're hiding in like a closet because someone's in their house,
I think
can't
maybe
it just be the call?
If it's called from a landline,
I was going to say, I think also with cell phones now, they still need to ask like where you are or what's the address.
And I think in this case, the woman knew that it was a child and that they were in the projects. So that's why she wasn't. So she knew exactly where they were. She wasn't taking it seriously because these are like some ghetto people doing ghetto shit. And so, yeah.
It's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Anyways. So the next scene is Joey waking up. She's all blurry-eyed in the hospital. And the doctor comes in and says, okay, you're all good. And Joey's like, excuse me, what happened? What happened to the guy who mugged me?
Ben loved the doctor's reaction.
The doctor was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
A little bit about it. He was like,
oh
man, I don't know if he's gonna make it, man.
He was like, the guy that mugged you, internal bleeding.
yeah, yeah, that's
Like,
what
what?
he said in that tone.
Yeah,
too. I was
and he had like
what?
a smirk. He was like,
yes,
internal bleeding.
yes, and
Yeah.
then just like walks off with a smile on his face. I'm like, what? What kind of doctor is this? So Joey walks out, and and this is another part where I was like, are we in a dream? Because she walks into the hallway and sees a random little girl all by herself in the middle of the hallway with like doctors and nurses like rushing past this little girl, and no one's paying attention to this little girl. And Joey's like, walks up to her and was like, hi, are you okay? Where are your parents? Where's your mom? Where's your dad? And I don't know, does a little girl tell her why she's there?
I think
She's like, my daddy's hurt and my mommy's somewhere.
Mom was 2 feet away.
yeah, she was
She's
like
like
in she
at
was
reception.
like at the nurse's station, like describing the daughter.
Yeah,
And then-
she comes hurriedly up to the front desk and was like, I'm looking for my daughter. And gives her a description. And then Joey like walks up with little girl in tow, and the mom is like, oh my God, thank you so much. You know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, actually, Joey, can you watch, or I don't know if she asked Joey's name at this point, but she's like, actually, do you mind if you like watch her for just a second? My husband's here and he's in surgery and I just need to go see what the status is. And Joey's like, yeah, sure. So she like takes the little girl over to like the waiting area, and they start chatting, Joey and this little girl. And so the little girl knows that she's there because her daddy's hurt, and she starts talking to Joey about how much she loves her dad. And she's like, yeah, he takes me to the movies and we have such a good time and it's so much fun. I love my daddy so much.
I was gonna say something, but it would give away the story.
Okay.
And we're not there yet.
Okay. So mom comes back, thanks Joey again. And then this mom proceeds to have a conversation with Joey.
Yeah, the mom also steals Joey's fucking time because Joey's like, okay, and like gets up to leave, and the mom's like, so why are you here?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
tries like
This
doesn't-
whole family is just
yeah, like doesn't want her to leave.
They're very
wants-
nosy.
Wants her to like stay and hang out. And I'm
Yeah.
what? Like,
I mean, Joey could just leave though.
yeah, but she's like too polite to just be like, I've had a fucking crap night. I gotta go.
I'm trying to get that Professor D.
Speaking
It's
of
already like 1 a.m.
speaking of which, she called Professor D.
Is that what we're calling him now?
I guess so.
She called Professor Wilder while she was at the ATM before she got mugged to be like, I'm coming over. And she's been in the hospital or what this whole
Probably
thing.
been hours now.
Yeah. He doesn't fucking call. She's got her phone back. He doesn't call once to be like, are you okay?
Are you alive?
What's happening? Like, where are you? You know, and she'd be like, well, I got mugged and then the guy got hit by a car and I'm in the hospital. He should be like, oh shit, I'll be right there. I'll come get you.
He doesn't care.
No. He
Yeah.
doesn't-
I
he's
kind of thought that
never checks in with her.
never checks in with her. I kind of thought when she walked out into the hallway, because she stands there for a little bit, I thought when she walked out into the hallway that we would either see Professor Wilder or someone that she knew. Like somehow someone found out what happened
Yeah.
to Joey and that someone would be there for her,
Yeah,
but
and
no one was there.
The doctor's like, do you need me to call anyone for you? Or are you good? And she's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave here and I'm going to walk home
alone.
alone in the dark. Because that's fine to do.
That's worked out for me so far. Let me try it again. All right, well, back to like mom and little girl and like being nosy and asking about Joey and everything. Yeah, so why are you here? So Joey proceeds to tell mom like, yeah, I mean, I got mugged tonight, and then the guy somehow the dots are connected, but I can't remember who reveals what first.
I think the mom is like, oh yeah, I'm here like because my husband got hit by a car, but we're not really together anymore. And so then Joey was like, oh, this is the wife and the daughter. And I think also like the mom says that the little girl's name is Sam, and the mugger had made a comment like how he likes boys' names for girls because her name is Joey. So she's like, oh, so she put it together. And then it seemed like she wasn't going to say, tell this woman that she was.
She didn't actually.
No, but it seemed like she wasn't going to let any details. And then she was like, she put that little fucking snot face on and was like, well, actually, I got mugged, and then the mugger got hit by a car. And then the wife woman is like, oh, that's horrible. And then you see like the fucking hamster come alive inside of her brain and start running on a wheel. And then she's like, oh, I think that guy who mugged you is my husband. And then she like grabs a kid. She's like, we're out of here. Fuck this shit. And Joey's like, where are you going? And she's like, away. Like, I've got this guy out of my life. And now like this shit. And like, I'm sorry this happened to you. But like, I'm done. And Joey's like, no, you have to stay. And I'm like, in my head, I was like, no, she doesn't.
And she probably shouldn't.
No.
And the kid doesn't need this person as a father.
I was
in
like, girl,
her
get
life.
Get while the getting's good. Go. Everybody go. Everybody go home.
Yeah, everyone, can we end this episode? Like, why are we still doing this?
So then the woman does try, the wife woman, and these are young people too. I should mention that this wife is like 22 or something.
Yeah, she looks very young.
She's very young, and she even was like, oh yeah, we married too young, and like we didn't know what we were doing, and like it was a mistake. It's all a mistake, whatever. And so then I think she leaves, and then Joey tries to leave, and then the doctor like comes back and he's like, oh, you're still here? And she's like, yeah, just, people won't fucking stop talking to me, so I can't leave. And And she was like, if you're looking for his wife, she left. And he's like, no, actually, he's asking for you.
Why would he ask for Joey?
How does he even know she's there? I don't understand.
It's
And yet-
absolutely bonkers.
and like, he's, he doesn't want to see his wife. He was trying to reconcile with her.
Or his kid. Like, he doesn't want to see his kid. He wants to see Joey.
Yeah, like,
I request Joey.
Well, I think they make a point, or the robber guy makes a point, like, because while they were in the street waiting for the ambulance to arrive, Joey, while she's talking about her dad and like, you know, why he did the things that he did, the robber guy is like, why do you want to know that stuff, or what do you think you're going to get from it? And she's like, I just want to know why. And so robber guy is out of surgery. They're still not sure if he's going to make it. Like,
Which is also
he's
bonkers because he
potential-
was just talking on the street after he got hit by a car and like smoking cigarettes and stuff.
Yeah.
He's
the,
fine.
The doctor, when he brings her in, is like, she was like, what happened to him? Did you fix him up? And he's like, well, do you know what a sucking chest wound is? Again, with the same attitude. And she was like, no, I actually don't. And he's like, well, we'll have to see if he's going to make it. Basically, they were like, fuck this guy. We kind of tried in surgery. We also did surgery for like all of 20 minutes. And we didn't really do that much because he's still going to die. And like, but go have a chat with him.
yeah.
What is a sucking chest wound?
When you get like a puncture wound or like a gunshot or a knife wound to your chest and it goes through the lung, so there's sucking as you're trying to breathe and blood splurty and
I would think if this man had a sucking chest wound, he wouldn't be like conscious and having life talks the minute he got hit by a car.
I'm just thinking
No.
of this now. He has a sucking chest wound, but when Joey enters that room, he's shirtless. I see no sucking.
He had
chest
road rash
wound.
on his shoulder.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had one little sliver of road rash on his shoulder. I don't see any sucking chest wound.
no. And if he had a sucking chest wound, he would be like in a medically induced coma. And,
Yeah,
on,
he's like
life
very
support.
chatty for having a sucking chest wound.
I'm just realizing that. I'm like, he was completely shirtless. Like, he wasn't even wearing a hospital gown.
No, they were like, look, robber guy's like
Robber's kind of built.
got it.
He's
got
swole.
And he was really sweaty too, so you could see his rippling muscles.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see that sucking chest wound.
No sign of a sucking chest wound. Let's see how many times we can say sucking chest wound. So Joey's like, why did you ask me in here? Like, what do you want? And he's like, well, I want to tell you why. She's like, why what? And he's like, why we do the things that we do. You know, like, I love my daughter, but I love drugs more. It's basically what he says.
Yeah. But I mean, like, people that have addiction problems, they do love their families. It's not, you don't
Well, no,
make
he
a
was-
decision.
He was being sincere. He's
Yeah.
like, I love my daughter. I love my wife. But, you know, these drugs got me, man.
Yeah, they got me good.
They got me good.
Then she talks about her dad again.
Right. She talks about the best day of her life ever, which was her 10th birthday, in which he took her to the park. And they were playing on the swings and the jungle gym and all that stuff. And she was like, I thought my dad was like the mayor or something because he just knew everybody in this park. Everyone was coming up
Because he
and
dealt
saying,
drugs to all of them.
Everyone
in the
was
park.
coming up and saying hi
They
to
all
him.
bought from him.
They all knew him and they seemed to really like him. And it was only like years later that I realized that he took me to that park so he could deal drugs. Yeah.
And they were all probably on drugs at the time. They were all probably doing coke. They were like feeling really, really good.
Yeah. So then right after she tells this story, the next thing we hear is,
I mean, he's not fine. He's not acting fine, but he's fine.
yeah, he looks
Like
fine.
he looks fine. He's a little sweaty. He's probably like detoxing also, you know, like going through withdrawal. So he's sweaty. He's only got a little road rash on his shoulder. The man's fine. Then all of a sudden, after the end of his sentence, he's like,
Beep.
yeah, he dies.
Yeah, he just fucking keels over.
Yeah. And Joey is like bawling her eyes out. I mean, I know she's crying about her dad, but it's just like she has like a tear rolling down her face, and then all the doctors and nurses come rushing in, and they don't even like, I mean, I know it's Dawson's Creek, but like, and maybe it's from watching too much ER or Grey's Anatomy or something, but they don't even like pretend to do anything with him.
No, they're
Like,
just like, pull
they
the
just-
plug.
Yeah, they just like
Yeah.
come in and like surround his bed and then don't do anything.
Yeah, they don't get the paddles out or nothing.
They don't
Nah,
get the
they're just
paddles
like,
out or anything.
he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're like, also he like mugged this girl earlier, so fuck him. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. We're not gonna save him.
Yeah.
So
This is over.
Joey comes out into the waiting room area, and mom and daughter have returned.
Yeah.
And does Joey confirm that he died without saying any words?
I thought the doctor said that to the mom.
Yeah, I forget, but the mom knows in that same moment that he's dead. And then, she's like, I don't know what we're going to do. And I'm like, I don't know, the same thing you were going to do already.
Yeah,
without
it'll be
him.
fine. Go on with your life.
And then Joey like feels bad. And like, while they're like talking to the doctor, she like takes the $500 out of her pocket.
Well, she tells the little girl before she does that, she like, the little girl, the daughter, like, did my dad hurt you, or did he do a bad thing to you tonight or today? And Joey lies to her. Joey lies to the little girl. She's like, no, actually, I was like walking home, and then I was in the street and I wasn't paying attention, and there was a car coming, and your daddy pushed me out of the way, and he got hit by the car instead of me. So actually, he saved my life.
And the little girl was like, my daddy's a hero? Here's what I would have told that little girl. I think we need to start being more honest to
Our
the younger
children-
generation.
to our children.
I would have been like, here's what happened, sweetie. I was walking home. I was throwing snowballs at the T sign. I was feeling good. This man tried to rape me, tried to fight me, took my phone, took everything, even took this coat off of my back. Then he got hit by a car. Then he got a sucking chest wound. Then he tried to smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, he tried to shoot me, but he didn't have any fucking bullets in his gun because he was too lazy to get bullets.
Yeah, he tried all those things.
Your
And
your daddy sucks, and he's gone now, and you're gonna be better off for
yeah,
it.
and he's even a failure as a mugger. Like, he couldn't even do that correctly. Your dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and your mommy will find a new daddy for you.
He'll
and-
probably also be a piece of shit, but maybe not on that level.
Yeah, and then you'll forget about this daddy altogether.
Yeah,
and-
because you're only like 5.
yeah, and the new daddy will be your daddy, and you'll grow up and you'll be fine.
Yeah. It's a period. Why are we lying to the children? You got to tell them Santa Claus isn't real at some point.
Yeah. And then after that, that's when she stuffs the $500 into mom's purse. And then that's how
Which
it
is
ends.
weird.
And yeah, and then
Well-
I mean, I wouldn't have done that, but
I wouldn't have done that either. But there was also a part in the episode where the mugger tells Joey, like, do you know why I really needed that money? He's like, I don't know why, but her mom let me walk her to preschool, and the tuition was due, and it was $500, and her mom gave me that $500, but you know what I did with it? I bought me some drugs instead, and I had a good ass time. And so I think that's why Joey probably let her gave her that
Pay
$500.
for the kid's school.
Pay for the kid's school.
I'd give 100, but not 5. That's her entire savings.
yeah, that's
That
all
was
her.
her-
She had
that's
literally
all
has
her money.
No money now.
She has no money.
She's going to have to sell that flip phone.
and then there's like a slow-mo walk down a long ass hallway for her to exit the building.
Yeah.
Again, back out into the cold, the
Yeah,
snow.
alone.
It's like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Professor D is nowhere to be found.
She don't even have money to get a cab because
No,
she gave it all to that woman.
She doesn't. That's
So she's
right.
gonna walk
Like, what are we doing?
home again alone in the dark. Aren't you scared at this point? Like, a lot's happened. Call one of your fucking friends to come
yeah,
get
she's got
you.
her cell
Yeah, her
phone
phone's back. She
Call
won't have
somebody.
to sell that till tomorrow to like make some money.
Right.
So at least use it tonight and call, Professor Big D.
Oh, Professor Big D.
Yeah, now he's Professor Big D.
We don't know what his D situation is.
I feel like he's Small D.
Oh my god.
He's giving Small D energy.
So yeah, that was the whole episode. It was fucking.
That was
I mean,
the whole
fucking-
episode.
Let's just go over the big things again. She walks home. She gets mugged. She kind of almost gets shot. The guy gets hit by a car. He goes to the hospital. So does she. Then she tries to leave and meets his family. Then she tries to leave again, and the mugger wants to talk to her. Then the mugger dies. Like, what? What is this?
and in the interim, she like figures out her own feelings about her own relationship with her own father, and it was all about her.
It's always all about Joey.
Yeah. Well, this seems to follow the Dawson's Creek pattern of like two really juicy, more interesting episodes, followed by a third snoozer.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the next episode because these were really wild. And we had 3 back-to-back wild ones.
Yeah, I think the next
really?
episode is going to be boring.
I mean, we'll definitely get back to regularly scheduled programming. And I think we'll see Professor D again. Obviously, like that's still unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
And we have potentially Pacey and Audrey to look forward to.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Y'all were excited about that one.
I hope Audrey
was
gets
excited.
pregnant. I need like some real drama.
So, I mean, like, you know, let's have a little hope. It could be a good, you know.
That's true.
a
They started a lot of juicy things.
They started a lot of juicy things in the past, you know, before episode 15, episode 13 and 14 and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
This one was really, I mean, these 3 episodes were like an emotional journey. I felt really, really worn out by the time I was done with
Did
these
you
3.
watch them all at once? You got to space them out.
I did. I watched one a day, basically.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, you
good
can't
job.
just sit
Yeah.
down and watch
Usually I do.
3 hours with the Dawson's Creek. It is a time suck. It rob you of your time, emotional energy.
Emotional energy.
All right. Well, so that's been episode 15. We'll be back next week for episode 16. We are Basic Teen TV. My name is Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cinder.
Okay, bye.
Bye.